He poisoned his fiancée. He murdered over 30 patients. He has killed about 60 patients worldwide. 60 patients worldwide. 60 patients worldwide.
I arrest doctors and nurses who killed their patients. Don't let it happen to you. Former Special Agent Bruce Sackman. I am the retired Special Agent in charge of the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs (OIG). There are a number of ongoing cases in the news about doctors and nurses who are accused of murdering their patient. I am the co-author of Behind the Murder Curtain, the true story of medical professionals who murdered their patients at VA hospitals and how we tracked them down. Ask me anything.
How does one find out that doctors or nurses intended to kill their patient?
It usually begins with statistics. Every time a particular nurse or doctor is on duty, the death rate goes up. She takes time off, the death rate goes down.
Any life hacks for how not be murdered, or is it just random chance? How are most of the murders committed? Is there a specific bracket of people most at risk? What was the most difficult to determine murder?
The very old have been the majority of victims, but certainly not exclusively. The murders are committed in the hospital, usually around 3 a.m. when few people are around. It is very difficult to prove murder in a hospital setting.
Was there somewhat of a common motive between the doctors and nurses that you had arrested? Why did these people do it?
By far, the most common motive has been Munchausen syndrome by proxy. Intentionally putting a patient into code, then showing staff what a great caregiver you are by trying to save their lives. Like the fireman who burns down the firehouse to show off his firefighting skills.
Do you look into the psychology of why they do it, or just try and catch them? If you do you find that they go into medicine to do this? Or does it come after?
Many suffer from Munchausen syndrome by proxy. Most go into medicine, not planning on killing, but events overtake them. Other than Swango, I don't believe that the killers intentionally chose medicine as a field to kill people. It is something that developed after they began working in healthcare.
As someone with a lot of medical problems, am I at a higher risk of being a victim of these people? I'm in and out of the hospital a lot and get lots of procedures done.
Make sure you don't go in alone and have an advocate with you to politely question what is being done.
You say don't let it happen to you. Does that mean there is something patients should do, ask, or question? Thank you for catching these killers. Truly a horrid betrayal.
Always have a family member or advocate with you to politely and respectfully thoroughly question the care you are receiving.
How do you determine if it is just negligence or murder? Do you also make sure the negligent are punished as well?
The negligent are usually punished through civil and administrative punishment, not criminally prosecuted.
What is the saddest case you worked on?
They are all very sad, but for some reason, one of the saddest is when we determined that Michael Swango had been poisoning his fiancée.
Is there a most common method that they use to kill them?
They used drugs available in the hospital, either insulin, epinephrine, or succinylcholine.
What was the strangest arrest?
Kristen Gilbert, a soccer mom who murdered over 30 patients.
What did the worst person you ever arrested do to their patients? How many patients did they kill?
Michael Swango killed about 60 patients all over the world. Swango murdered about 60 patients, but he doesn't hold the records. Harold Shipman in London does.
How often do hospital administration members get investigated for potentially covering up for the killer doctors and nurses?
Frequently investigated but never prosecuted. Usually, they move or retire, or are administratively sanctioned. In Germany, the police are now pursuing the administrators that allowed their nurse murders to continue.
Where and how do you hear about a doctor or nurse killing their patient? I mean, like if there's a doctor that kills their patient, how do you get the news about it? Does the family report to you guys, or is it the hospital that does?
These cases usually come to our attention from the honest, dedicated staff that suspects something. Their complaints are usually rejected by management, so out of frustration, they go outside the hospital.
Do you liaise with the UK authorities much? It seems like they have a big problem with that over there too.
Yes, spent some time with a detective in London who worked on the Dr. Harold Shipman case. He murdered over 250 of his patients.
Is this a very prevalent thing? Also, are there any telltale signs that your doctor or nurse may be likely to kill you?
It is extremely uncommon, yet it does exist. Murder is usually a total surprise to the family and staff. Those victims that have survived were shocked as well at the attempt to kill him.
How does the knowledge of doctors and nurses murdering in cold blood affect your opinion of the medical industry?
I still have a very high opinion of medical professionals. You can't paint the entire industry with the actions of a few terrible caregivers. Remember, we find out about these cases from the honest, dedicated caregivers.